And how did that feel at 16?
Oh, God. Well, I'll tell you what typically would happen. You'd cut a piece of metal on a Monday, and you were filing with a little 4-inch file, and we're making a tap wrench, and your case hardened.
Do you have a tap wrench here?
Unfortunately, I don't. But it holds. It holds a tap. I wish I still had it. And you'd get to Friday morning, and you've just been paid as well, And
so you would get paid as an apprentice.
Oh yeah, you get. It wasn't a lot. I was taking home £24 a week.
Okay.
So you'd have this block, and you'd present it. You have to wait, and you'd give it to one of the measure it. And say, okay, after lunch, surface plate, hand polishing. For the whole afternoon. And I remember this, plus or minus 4th hour this was. And you've done none of this at school, okay?
Yeah.
And you go up, and we're all proud at the end of the day, and there's a little scratch there, so you're at it again, and they're breaking you. And then you're there, and you're all proud. Bear in mind, this is Friday, you're going home for the weekend. I'm afraid you've gone under. Just put it in the bin. Let's start again Monday, shall we?
Oh my God.
I want to punch you.
Wow.
So it was about... Really.
So they were really trying to drive you towards perfection.
Yeah,
there was no.
There's no slackers.
This'll do.
No slackers. A few people left; they just couldn't keep up with it. But there is something I'm going to tell you that. So when I went for the interview, I told them all sorts of stories about what exams and projected grades I'll be getting in them. I never took a single exam. So for the first year, I was always thinking, oh my God, and these days they can press a button on the computer and they can have you'll be out, you'll be telling them a stack of lies. But I stuck with it, and I stuck with it, and I stuck with it. And then one day
Did you like it? Obviously it must have gone in. How long did it take before you kind of went, I kind of like this actually?
It's within the first year I started to engage with it. But there was one particular, there was a museum cabinet, and it had the best of everything in there with the apprentices' names and the percentile on there, and then one day I went in and the boys were going, McCormack, your job's in the case, your toolmaker's clamps in the case. I said, no, it's not. And sure enough, it was at 97%. And I was called in the office. I had to stand at ease, like this, for going on.
God, it really was military.
Yeah. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, oh, McCormack, you obviously have a backstory. We've never seen your exam results. He said, but whatever it is you're doing, keep doing it. And then they stopped asking me for my exam results. I didn't have any. And then I went through, and I got credits and distinctions. I just wasn't bothered about school.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, obviously your skills were in your eye and your hands.
And I proved it to them there.
But that must have been remarkable, getting your... thing into the cabinet.
Yeah.
What was it that they
put? It's a toolmaker's clamp. So it would have been a result of using shaping machines, lathes, lots of handwork.
You had to make your own tools before you ever even got to the stage of actually making something for a car.
Like seat switch spanner. I'd never seen a seat switch, but it was...
You literally made a seat switch spanner from a piece of metal.
We made a 2BA spanner because the BA was sizing, and that was made from gauge plate. That was really thick material.
So you had to create a full toolkit?
Not a full toolkit, but there were various things. There was a big pipe grip. We never used pikes, but once again they were influenced by the engineering industry training board and their training criteria. But the toolmaker's clamp, you could, it was a useful item.
Yeah. But I presume with this training, if they signed you up to it, and it was 4 years, was it?
That's right. Yeah.
Would you have been allowed leave after 4 years, or you had to commit to another 4 years?
There was no contract there, and some people after that 4 years left immediately. But we had a block release of 6 months at Willesden College, and then we went on day release.
Where you would go to Willesden College for 6 months.
So that'd be like technology. It was development drawing, but for the panel beaters, unfortunately, they just stopped doing the panel beating course. So when it comes to the metalwork side of it, the practical and the development, we were doing ductwork, for like heating and ventilation. It was the closest to fabrication. It taught us the disciplines again. This is pre-computers, pre-CAD. It was all.
Well, pre-CAD, I'd say by about 10 years.
Yeah, maybe, all hard work there. So we made pieces of ductwork, lobster back bends, and all these sort of exotic things in not so exotic Willesden College.
Amazing. And at what stage then would you have been allowed to actually work on a Rolls-Royce?
Oh, okay. So we went on the shop floor in the second year, and
Oh, you did. Okay.
yes, so
would you have been allowed to mingle with the fully qualified staff? I mean,
oh yeah,